This is an unboxing, installation, and review of the AMP Powerstep. You can find pricing information in the link below. So I had been eyeing up these PowerSteps for quite some time, and after having the success I had with the Lund tonneau cover video that I had done last year, I decided it was time to give these a try. So I had contacted Lund, and they did send these out to me for the purpose of this review, so let's go ahead and get them unboxed. So the first thing we come across here is one of the motor linkage assemblies. These are packaged up in boxes and pairs. And then the next thing you'll pull out here is the idler linkage assembly. And you always want to dig through the box, make sure you're not missing anything like this motor plate cover that was sitting in the bottom of the box. And here you have your other two linkage assemblies. In this box, you're going to have your installation instructions, warranty information, your wiring harnesses, the motors for the linkage assemblies, which do need to be installed and torqued down to the proper specs. You have your hardware bag here, the controller, which is installed underneath the hood of the vehicle next to the battery. Here's your other motor. And now we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the running boards themselves. And the first thing I noticed about these boards is they have a really nice powder coat grippy finish to them. It's more like a truck bed liner than it is like a smooth powder coat. I expect these things to hold up well in many different conditions. And these linkage assemblies are also very heavy duty and sturdy. They have nice little rubber pads that stop them at their open and closed positions. They're, again, very well built. Now, typically when I install things, I never really went as far to do the torque wrenches and all that stuff, but for these, being that as expensive as they are, I felt it was important to actually tighten these down as to what the specs call for. I didn't want to break any of the plastic here by just doing it by feel, or keep it so loose that water got in between. So I do find that picking up these torque wrenches, which I have also included in the description below, I got these off of Amazon for 40 bucks a piece. You will need 2 wrenches because you need 1 in inch pounds and 1 in foot pounds. Now, I had installed these on a 2015 GMC Sierra extended cab. When you're putting these on an extended versus a crew cab, you need to chop 7 inches off the end of this board. It was really easy. I just removed the end cap, ran the chop saw through it with an aluminum blade, which also helped me not chip any finishes. I was very impressed with how this held up through cutting. I was able to zip right through it. Cutting both boards only took me a matter of about 20 minutes. And now we'll move on to assembly. The first step is going to be putting this brake cable bracket in place. It's going to be 1 U-nut. You just slap this up, it pushes up the parking brake cable, which clears room for the motor. And it's 1 bolt, and tighten it on down. This one you just snug down, don't worry about any torque specs. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start with our linkage assembly installation. We'll start with the driver's side front. And for the purposes of this video, we only show the driver's side installation. It's the same thing, mirrored image on the passenger side. You'll go ahead, you'll remove this plug here in the body. You'll install a U-nut in that space. And then we'll slide our idler linkage assembly up in that spot. It is important to note that the idler linkage assemblies go to the front of the vehicle and the assembly with the motor goes to the rear of the vehicle. You do want to follow the torque specs on these. And again, if you want more information on these torque wrenches, the description is in the link below. Now here you can see we have the motor linkage assembly put in place in the rear, just kind of snugged hand tight. You have your top bolt and then you have your bottom bolt. You will need 2 ratchets to get in there and get these tightened down for that bottom bolt in order to keep it from spinning. But again, you just go ahead, torque this all down, and that's that for the linkage assembly installation. Now we'll go ahead with the running board installation. If you have somebody available to help you, it would be of great assistance here, as the T-nut inserts that go into the linkage assemblies slide up and down the running boards. They can be a little bit finicky to get lined up properly. Now once you do that, it's really simple to get these torqued down as well. Torque it down to spec, and you'll be pretty amazed that once these are all torqued down, this becomes a really solid assembly. So pretty much everything you do in vehicles nowadays tells you to disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. This one I actually do highly recommend you do it because you are working directly with the electronics. We'll go ahead, we'll install this controller. You zip tie this onto the rail here, and then pull all your wiring, get it kind of roughed in, make sure that you're running it underneath any obstructions. Push it on down the wheel well and run it down the frame rail, and now you need to come up through the floorboard with it. This is actually much easier than I anticipated. You just go ahead, pull back the carpet. The instructions tell you to drill through the body itself. I found I just use this rubber drain plug, drilled through it. Anytime I can avoid drilling through a painted surface, metal surface, I will always choose that route, so this is what I decided to go ahead and do. And then you fish your purple wires up, and those will be the wires that will hook up to the OBD II plug that hooks up to the computer and basically runs the entire operation of these boards. It's really simple. Just plug it in, run your wires, hide them, and you're done. And another little deviation I had here from the instructions was I grounded this to the frame as opposed to the battery. Again, something else I do, if I can ground through the frame, I will do that. Then you go ahead, hook everything up to the positive terminals, and you're back in business. And as you can see, these things operate flawlessly. They hold my weight. I'm 230 pounds, 6'2". These things really hold the weight well. They are relatively quiet, and ultimately they are a head turner. And the thing I like the most about these boards, and what really puts them aside from any competition out there for the most part, is that these boards, when they tuck in, they are above the frame rail, so you do not lose any ground clearance with these things. They should not get dinged up unless you're doing some extreme rock crawling or something like that, where you're using them to, rock rail, slide down some sort of rocks. But for the most part, anybody who's using these on construction sites or just general off-roading, these things are going to stay intact. They tuck up nice and tight to the truck, and they are really not an obstruction whatsoever. They're there when you need them and gone when you don't. Now again, you can actually hold these boards open. If you hold your foot on them and then wait a second, pull off, they will stay down for cleaning and things of that nature. Now when you open the door, close it again, they will suck back up and it just resets them, puts them back to the same normal mode. So again, thank you very much to Lund for sending these out to me, and thank you very much for watching my videos. Please subscribe for future videos, and we'll see you next time.